It is so hard, isn't it, to let go of control? I don't know about you, but in my life, it's all been about, it's like the whole life trajectory has been about letting go more and more and more, particularly with kids. For any of you who have kids or grandchildren or really best friends who are really close and their kids, or, the aunties and uncles, letting go of control. And what I have found is that the more that false ego tries to hold on to control and thinks it's in control, like it thinks it's all that. So it thinks it's in control when it never really is. But the more it tries to hold on to control, the higher the fear goes of being out of control. So it's like the more control there is, the more fear there is. And that place of letting go, of yielding, where the Bible says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. It's like a promise. But are we willing to yield to the divine control? Are we willing to trust in the divine control? Are we willing to, and what does that look like? Am I willing to yield my trust, my faith to the divine? Am I willing to yield to spirit being in control? What does that look like? Well, when temptation comes to the door, am I yielding to spirit or am I yielding to temptation? Because obviously God is not tempting us. The temptation is coming up. But if we're leaning on spirit, I'm not leaning on human will, determination, like that false ego, like I'm going to dig in and I'm going to prove that I'm right. Do I love yielding to God more than I love being right in an argument? Do I love yielding to God's control and God's outline of the way things are going to be? Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths in his way to his end, not to our own false ego's end. Like the person who, plans the party and wants it to look a very certain way, and everybody else is trying to help us. Like, no, and like bashing other people away because they don't want them to help. It's like, no, yield. Yield. When two people are planning something, or two people are like in a marriage, when there's, dual control essentially of a family, right? Are you sitting together and both yielding to the control of the divine to find the path forward? Or is one person sort of out muscling the other one, and the other one finally gives up and goes away? And then that person feels resentful and nobody's supporting me and I'm charging forward, and then they pile it on and pile it on. And then they get more and more fearful of letting go of the control because everything will fall apart. It's like, well, hang on. That's actually a protection. That leveling up of fear along with that false ego's control is actually a protection, because the pain and the suffering of that fear, the fear of letting go, of being out of control, is protecting you from going further into it. It's protecting you. It's creating that desire in you to let go so that you'll not feel so much fear and feel so much pain, to actually yield to God, yield to the divine. There's that place in Galatians, ye have been called unto liberty, only use not liberty for occasion to the flesh, but love, what is it? But by love serve one another. So are we yielding to spirit? Are we yielding to love and serving others and bringing and creating the space for others to reflect God's control? Because that's true self-control, right? Is reflecting God's control. If I am aligned with the divine, if I'm acknowledging who I am as a reflection of God, then God, the all power, who's always in control, if I'm reflecting that divine control, that's a place of dominion. That's a place of discipline. That's a place of self-restraint, self-control, based in the divine control, not based in the human false ego running away with the control of everything, the power of everything. There's a really good quote. Mary Baker Eddy wrote a book called Prose Works. Well, there's a collection of her writings called Prose Works. And in one of the books, Miscellany, she has this great quote: he who gains self-knowledge, self-control, and the kingdom of heaven within himself, within his own consciousness, is saved through Christ's truth. Like he who gains self-knowledge and self-control. And then there's another passage where she talks in the same book where she talks about to him to live so as to keep human consciousness in constant relation with the divine, the spiritual, and the eternal is to individualize infinite power. And this is Christian Science. If you ever wondered what Christian Science was, that's Christian Science. To live so as to keep human consciousness in constant relation to the divine, the spiritual, and the eternal is to individualize infinite power. And it sort of makes you ask, why does that mean that you're going to individualize infinite power? Because that's the place where we're reflecting the divine all power, and it is being expressed individually. So it's individualizing infinite power. It's like those people out there, I mean, I count myself among them, where, control it's always an issue, right? For us on this plane of existence, struggling through, like, to give up control. But if we know that the release of that false ego's control is to reflect divine infinite power, it's like, yeah, I'll have some of that, please. I'll have what they're having. It's like, yeah, I want that place to individualize infinite power, because then the pressure's off. Then it's God reflected. Then I'm just the reflection of God. And I know that that's infinite mind in control. That's infinite soul in control. That's infinite spirit in control, infinite love in control, infinite truth in control, principle, life. It's like mind. It's like, it doesn't get better than that. That's awesome. I'll take that all day, every day. And anyway, this was an idea. It's like, I'm playing around with this. It came out in Morning Metaphys this morning, which was, it's always just cool to see what comes through. Because I like cast the net out to God and say, okay, God, what are the ideas that we're sharing today? It's like, you bring the fish in, I don't know. And I love being a part of it. And I invite you to try it for free. Go to thischoicematters.co and just sign up for the free trial. See if you like it. See if it supports you in your daily practice. Because I am the biggest fan of a daily practice. And if these ideas in this particular recording, support you, or you think might support somebody else, please feel free to share it out and subscribe to the channels, because it supports more people seeing it, right? On YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram, it's called This Choice Matters. So just subscribe and, like, and do all the things that you're supposed to do on social media, none of which I pay much attention to. But if these ideas are good, let's spread them around, and let's, let more people hear them and see them. So lots of love, you guys. Let me know where you're watching from. Always. I always like to see where you are all around the world, and be in touch. Go to the website and thischoicematters.co and, be in touch with me, or DM me or whatever. All right. Lots of love. Talk to you soon.